If it makes you money or brings us happiness, you'll find it right here. This is The Purple Tie Show. Welcome to this episode of Purple Tie Guys. Today we're going to talk about content.
And I'm Blake Singleton.
And I'm Robert Martin. I wasn't going to introduce us. I mean, by now, if you haven't listened to the podcast and know that I'm the magnificent Robert and Blake is, well, he's Blake.
We're not going to get into that right now. What we are going to get into is
content. We talk a lot about content. What is it? What counts as content? How to create it.
How to use it properly. And it's a strange thing to think about using content properly, but you really do. You have to plan for it.
There's different platforms.
Yeah.
And not all content works on all platforms.
Right.
Like, it's so...
But there is certain content that you can use on multiple platforms.
Right. We call that cross-platform content in the marketing world. You're a designer and know nothing.
We didn't call it anything before this podcast, but that's great.
Shut up. Shut up. Oh, no. Cross-platform content would be something like I'm not a big advocate of, I'm going to make this awesome Facebook post and I'm going to copy and paste it into LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn's kind of a different platform. It's more business related. It's more, business professionals. They don't care about your dog or your cousin or your, pet snake.
Sure. I don't care about anybody's pet snake.
I don't think you should have a snake as a pet, but that's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. What I was thinking about was if you make this awesome post on your blog, and then you automatically push that content to Facebook on your Facebook page and to LinkedIn and to Twitter and to everywhere else that it needs to go.
So if you see our blog post, it gets auto pushed to LinkedIn and Facebook and I think Twitter, maybe that. Well, I don't think we push it to Twitter.
It automatically goes to 8 places, and I don't remember where the other ones are. It used to go. Medium is my favorite off website blog, and the plugin that used to push to Medium, which was made by that company, no longer functions. So we have to push our stuff manually to Medium.
Right. And you were devastated about that.
I was, but it goes automatically.
So when we say you can find us anywhere online at Purple Tie Guys, we literally mean anywhere online at Purple Tie Guys. But blog post is just one particular content medium, right?
Right.
You've got audio content like we're producing now.
Right, podcasts, and really that's the only kind of audio podcasts, audio content.
Good job, designer Blake.
I draw good.
I draw great. I draw good pictures. You've also got video.
Yep.
Now there's a bunch of video platforms. You've got YouTube, you got Vimeo, you've got Instagram videos, Facebook videos. And that's not true. Now, let me back up and give you some kudos for knowing that there's other audio places, because you totally knew this. Facebook audio. Remember Facebook did the whole thing where it's like, we're going to be your podcast.
Right. Well, they did the live audio, which I don't know if that's still a thing.
If it is, it shouldn't be.
I think it's fine. I just don't think it was implemented very well. A lot of things that Facebook does, it sort of halfway does, and it works, but it just never gets the traction that it needs to get really popular.
And then usually somebody innovates that and makes it its own platform, and then blows it out of the water.
So there are lots of places that you can put your podcast.
That's true.
The most popular is Apple Podcasts, iTunes.
iTunes.
But Google Play also has podcasts. You can also syndicate to lots of places: SoundCloud, Spotify, Anchor. The list goes on and on. We'll make an entire episode about podcasts. Just like
we are. We're going to do an entire episode on how to create
start a podcast,
how to start one, how to get it syndicated, how to push it out to everywhere.
We're also going to make an entire episode on starting a YouTube channel, and during that episode we'll probably mention, at least in passing, the other plethora of places that you can push video content.
There's so many places to push video content. And you can even do Facebook Live.
Yeah, that's actually
now,
really popular.
Live, it is very popular. There's entire groups built around, one of the groups that I'm part of, they have a Friday Night Live, and it's a thing where the creator of the group gets a panel of people together, and they get up there and they talk about the thing. And it's popular.
Yeah.
They'll have several hundred people watching at any one time. I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's sort of like a smaller version of the streaming platforms like Twitch and Mixer and Caffeine and all of those
You
places.
are a huge, I don't know how many times I yell at you at work with the Twitch thing.
I think that streaming platforms are the way of the future when it comes to personalized content. Right now, we are in the subscription era. Everything is a subscription, and it's
oh my God,
$1, $5, $10.
Well, it's like YouTube. It's like, hey, you want to not have ads? Pay like $10.
But there's so many channels on Twitch and Mixer, and the list goes on and on. But you can find exactly what you want to watch, exactly down to the type of personality you're watching, the content live. And if you're subscribed, or sometimes even if you're not, you can go back and watch past videos on those platforms.
Well, and the thing is, during the live video, you can interact with the person. You can ask them questions. You can make comments. They can respond.
I was sort of trying to bring that back around to what you were talking about, because you've also got Periscope and Twitter Live. That
God, there's so much stuff.
There's so many ways
to create
content, right?
And it's mind-boggling. So my suggestion would be pick a platform that you're comfortable with and kill it. Right? So if you're comfortable, I don't like being in front of the camera.
You're great at it.
I don't enjoy it. But I just don't enjoy it. I don't like... and no one likes the sound of their own voice.
Right.
The recorded sound of their own voice. I think I sound like, a nasally youngster girl boy. Right?
And I know I sound like that.
You sound like a 40-year-old woman that smoked for half her life.
Oh, that's not what I thought that sounded like at all. That's unfortunate.
Well, maybe smoked more for like 35 of the 40 years.
Gave it up the last 5 years.
So
that's how I got this hole in my throat.
I'm not going there. But no one likes the way that they sound when on audio recordings. I don't like the way that I look or sound in video recordings. It's a personal thing. So I personally do not like YouTube. I don't like YouTube as a content creation portal.
One thing that everyone really needs to get good at, though, is written content.
Oh yeah, written content.
You have to have new content for your site all the time.
Weekly. So for Google to love you, you have to build trust. The easiest way to build trust is great content.
Yes.
And the more frequent that content gets published, the better it is, the more Google loves you, the higher up the rankings you climb. And this is not going to be this is how SEO works, episode.
We've got an episode coming down.
We got a whole episode for that. We've got lots of episodes coming up. But we found that weekly content is best. You can do it with monthly content. Anything less than monthly content, you might as well not make content.
And you really need to pay attention to the amount of content that you're creating and the quality of the content, because sure, you can post twice a day, every day, but if you're posting a paragraph of text.
So here's the thing, anything below about 1,000 words, Google sees as thin content, which means it's probably not of value. And they will actually penalize you for that.
And this is a new development.
Yes.
Because a year ago,
thin content
2 years
was okay.
ago, thin content was fine. You
I
could post
an article
300 word articles.
Oh yeah, rank in the top 5 within a week.
It was very, very easy.
Yeah, and then Google got smart, as they always do, and they smack the crap out of you, and suddenly you're penalized. But audio and video, even for that matter, if you want to produce video content on YouTube or Vimeo or Twitch or any of the other hundreds of places, you'll literally need a smartphone.
That's it.
And that's it. A podcast. We're doing a podcast right now on an iPad Pro.
This is
and actually, it's an upgrade from our previous podcast equipment. So
yeah, back in the day, we had an entire setup with mic stands.
Oh my God, we had like a $2,000. Oh, it was so.
It was very nice,
top of the line.
But we have figured out that you don't need that. To produce good content.
I mean, literally, we have these mics are like $15 on Amazon. It plugs into a USB-C adapter because I'm on a new iPad Pro.
Right.
And it goes into GarageBand, which is a free download. Mm-hmm. And here we are. We're creating a podcast. I mean, that, and we'll talk about that in the creating a podcast episode.
We will.
We basically talked about that now. But your written content, you do have to get that right. Whether you hire a writer to do it for you and you're like, hey, Mr. Miss Writer, I need an article about why knee pain is sweeping America.
Yes.
Well, why is it sweeping America, Doc? Well, because people are fat.
Right.
And then you write the article. Please don't say those exact words because it's hurtful. But it's so true in so many places. You need to be that you need to have it written in a certain way where it's conversational and it kind of pulls people in. I have a doctor right now that's very, analytical and very like to the T, like medical school term type stuff.
Right.
And it's very difficult, to like get that feel to get people to go, oh wow, I love the way, this article makes me feel good. Yeah. There's tons and tons of people writing health articles.
Yep.
Why you should eat 18 avocados a day and why you should, not eat coconut and why, coconut oil's the big lie. And they get thousands of views and reads, and there is literally people making 5 figures off of a blog on the internet.
And when we come back, we'll tell you how it can backfire just as easily.
Does your practice suffer from weak patient flow? Purple Tie Guys may be right for you. Purple Tie Guys is the most effective way to fill your waiting room with new patients. Clients usually see significant improvement in as little as 30 days.
Since I began working with Purple Tie Guys, my stream of new patients has never been stronger, and my waiting room is packed.
Side effects may include swelling of the waiting room, increased happiness, and a better bottom line. Serious, less common side effects include sports cars and Swiss bank accounts. If you experience patient flow that lasts more than 8 hours, hire additional staff and tell your marketing advisor immediately. Increase your patient flow with Purple Tie Guys. No contracts, just results. I love our I love our sponsored ad.
Oh man.
So how can this backfire? What bring it back around here?
The biggest mistake that companies make whenever they hire out their writers, there's two mistakes. There's two main mistakes. One, if they have somebody that works at their office writing the content, it's not going to be written correctly to make any sort of difference in
the search engines. Exactly.
If you hire somebody out and you're not getting a reputable company, there is a way that you can write the proper way for search engines to find you. I'm referring to keywords and then overdo it. I'm referring to keyword stuffing.
Yeah,
where
it's called keyword stuffing.
Where you're saying, I want to rank for knee surgery in
Anchorage, Alaska.
Because
that's a thing,
right?
That
knee surgeon.
They constantly got eyes.
That knee surgeon is going to be on point. But if you hire out a new writer or somebody who's doing it and doesn't care about you being kicked off the first page, they'll stuff it full of
knee surgeon, Anchorage, Alaska. So it's like when you're looking for a knee surgeon in Anchorage, Alaska, because you need your knee fixed in Anchorage, Alaska, surgery in Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah, if you need knee surgery in Anchorage, Alaska, and you're looking for a knee surgeon in Anchorage, Alaska,
you can always tell articles that are keyword stuff because you're like, God, this reads like
crap.
So bad. And then, so let's say you hire someone in your office to do it. Now the reverse is true. Right? There's a balance.
Right.
The keyword needs to be mentioned in the article a few times for Google to pick it up and all that stuff. But they're like, what you should know about knee surgery.
Mm-hmm. And then they just tell you.
And they stopped. They stopped right there. What you need to know about knee surgery, and now the article starts.
And they
it's
never
not
mention it
attributed to the
again.
doctor. It's not attributed to like Houston, Texas, or the practice, it's just knee surgery. What you need to know about knee surgery.
Right.
And I see that with especially like stem cell, like where they inject it in the knee and like it regrows the cartilage or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. But
you inject the stem cells and it regrows the kneecap.
Yeah, the whole thing regrows. Seriously, call me and tell me how that works. But they are really bad about trying to game their way to the front of the system by stuffing keywords into an article, and you read it and it doesn't teach you anything. It doesn't really tell you the how or the why,
or it's not informative, or it's not interesting, or it is just a block of words that are holding the keywords.
Yes, and it's kind of like your content creation. We all had that professor, right? Teacher, professor, whatever.
I've had lots of really bad professors.
Dry and just very analytical. The number 4 plus the number 2 equals the number 6, and you're like, I'm not learning anything at this point.
No,
right?
I've
slept through half your class.
I've slept through 2/3 of that equation.
When's the spelling bee? So, am I in English or math? I don't know, but you get that dry, kind of just blah. That personality, that just blah.
Okay. We got to put this out there. There's another type of really popular written content called white papers, right?
Oh, white papers, yes.
White papers.
I love white papers.
Are designed to read like a dry professor.
Yes.
They are there specifically to give you just the facts.
But white papers can be so beautiful for Google.
They can.
If
you use them in the right way.
And you use them in the right way. So when we say content, what is content? How to create content? White papers can be content. Podcasts can be content.
Blog posts,
blogs can be content. Videos can be content.
Basically, anything that gives value of some kind. Even pictures can be content if used in the right way. Infographics are a very popular form of content right now.
Wow, we were going to glaze right over that.
But you really need to use them in the right way, because there's no good way to properly SEO infographics, because essentially it's just a picture.
It is. It's just a picture. You can do some stuff with the alt text.
You can do some stuff in the background, but you can't. It's not like
Jessica
a blog post.
would be very upset that we overlooked.
Who would?
Jessica would be very upset that we overlooked, pictures in the content creation. That's half of our entire conversation today was about pictures and the Google My Business listing and blah, blah, blah. She's really...
Fun fact, the Google My Business listing now allows you to put posts up there,
which is also content.
But those posts expire.
Yes, drives me nuts.
It is brilliant because it forces you to put fresh content.
It does, and I think Google did it that way just so you would have to have fresh content. Like, in order to have a post, you have to do it. I think it's like 7 days or 14 days.
I think it's a month. I think it's a month.
Is it 30 days? I haven't done it.
I haven't either, but I've got a couple of clients that do it. So I get notifications whenever the post is expiring. It's like, you need to put a new post up there.
Yeah, well, so our content of choice is audio, obviously, because I personally have a face for podcasting.
Me too.
It's a lot like a face for radio. I'm not a big fan of video. Not a big fan of YouTube and being in front of the camera. I don't like that. Not a big fan of like pictures and stuff like that. So podcast is a big one. Written content's huge for us. Yes. We have a team of writers that takes care of it. What's another big one for us?
Those are the two big ones. Blog posts and podcasts are the two big ones.
Well, we do a lot of Facebook stuff and posting on Facebook and interacting with Facebook.
Yeah, we interact with Facebook a lot because that's where a lot of our clients are as well.
Yes.
And we make posts specifically for Facebook that don't ever touch our blog or our website.
Absolutely.
And because you need to know where those posts go. If we were going to post the stuff that we post to Facebook on our blog, it would look out of place.
Yes. Instagram's the other one that I love because...
You know what's funny?
Which is weird. That's a picture thing.
Yeah, it's a picture thing. I was going to say.
Video, but it's a different form.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a picture of me. It could be a picture of a new piece of marketing material.
But see, again, you've got to figure out where the content goes. Infographics don't go on Instagram.
No, nobody goes to Instagram to look at an infographic. Infographic goes on Pinterest.
Yeah.
And
LinkedIn and your blog.
And LinkedIn and your blog. So those are the three. Pinterest, your blog, and LinkedIn for like infographics.
Yes.
Audio podcast.
That can go anywhere.
iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. There's like 15,000 different places.
When we go into depth about podcasts on the other episode
of the podcast,
I will go over the various places that you can go online and store your podcasts for a fee, and then there's the other stuff that's free, like Anchor, and how easy it is to start your podcast. But you can put your podcast thanks to we use a service called Podbean, and Podbean gives us a player that we can put on Facebook and LinkedIn and our blog, and it'll just play the podcast right there where you found it.
Now, if you want to be really good, what you do is you get a transcription of your podcast.
I was getting to that, yeah.
To make a blog post out of.
Years ago, you did an interview with, oh my gosh, I don't remember his name and I feel so bad. Josh something. He runs the podcast Plural of You. And
I don't remember. What's his last name?
I don't remember because it's not the same name as his brother.
I know. Keep going.
He transcribes his podcast himself.
Oh, that's got to take a huge amount of time.
And he was doing, I don't know if he still is, I hope he is, Josh, if you're listening, I hope you're still doing the podcast. I hope his name's Josh. I'm second guessing myself now.
It's Josh. I just don't remember his last name.
Anyway, he was doing interviews with 501c3s and volunteers, and they were doing all kinds of really cool stuff. But he would take the time to sit down and transcribe his 30-minute podcast, the questions he asked and the answers he got. But it's a little bit different than our podcast because we're sort of talking over each other every once in a while, and it's difficult to sometimes tell our voices apart, so it's difficult to transcribe.
Especially if I get excited. I start talking like a 30-year-old woman that smoked half my life. And I thought I was friends with him on Facebook, but apparently... So, Josh, if you're listening, I certainly hope you're still doing the podcast. But yes, you could transcribe a podcast to make that written content as well. You could also, you could do it with a video. Video, it doesn't like video. You could upload straight to the blog. Though.
Yes, yeah,
and make that a blog.
And make that a blog post. But then you can also. So here's the great thing about audio and video content. It is very, very easy to convert those two things into other types of content.
The other thing that's really nice about video content is Facebook freaking loves video content. As
long as that video is played through Facebook.
That's the other thing.
It can't link to YouTube and Vimeo and all the other places.
And this will be part of our video podcast. So if you make a video and upload it straight to YouTube, YouTube will give you extra love and show your video to other people and places and blah, blah, blah. If you make a YouTube video and post the link to the YouTube video on Facebook, they will show it to almost no one.
Yes, you have to pay to get that link shown.
And
even to people who follow your page.
Well, here's the thing, and it makes sense. Facebook loves Facebook and wants to keep you on Facebook.
And YouTube loves YouTube and wants to keep you on YouTube.
Right, and Google, see, this is where it gets funny, fun, interesting, sad. Google owns YouTube.
Yes.
So, when you do a Google search, that's why the top portion, a lot of times will have 3 YouTube videos sitting in there.
Yes, and sometimes you'll even get a single YouTube video. Like, this is the definitive video for exactly what you searched for.
This is the definitive video for knee surgery.
You know what will never get shown on that Google search page? A Facebook video.
Oh, no. No.
So, you've got to play.
All the platforms play very well with each other. They play very well with themselves, not very well with each other.
That sounds bad.
That's a horrible... You know what? Scratch. Can you edit that out? You're not going to edit that out.
I'm not going to edit that out.
So, if you're in the Google sandbox...
You're going to stay in the Google sandbox.
Exactly.
If you're in the Facebook sandbox... So, I guess what I really need to tell you is you're going to have to plan what you're doing and where it needs to go.
Right.
If you're doing video, plan on uploading it to YouTube.
Yep.
But if you are using Facebook, plan on uploading it to Facebook as well.
So here's the thing. I use so I'm a Mac user. I'll record my screen using the built-in screen recorder in the Mac.
Right.
I'll turn around and do my editing in iMovie. Mm-hmm. I'll hit the share button and push it out to YouTube or Vimeo.
Right.
But then I'll take that actual video that's saved to my local machine and upload it to Facebook.
If you want the people on Facebook to see it.
If they, or you, like we said, throw the YouTube link and nobody sees it.
Right.
But if you upload it straight to Facebook, it's like any other post. So, wow, we've rambled.
It sort of needed to be said. You know, people need to realize that there are caveats to using certain...
Caveats?
Yes.
Is that
caveats.
Caveats? See, I'm from the South. You're...
Caviars?
Caviar. There's caviars to everything.
There are, what's another word? Hang-ups? There's hang-ups to using certain platforms, you know? And... yes, there are other search platforms out there than Google, but Google has such a wide-reaching footprint.
98%
or something
of all web searches are done on Google.
I don't remember right off, and I've got it written down somewhere.
It's crazy. If you attend the conference I'll be speaking at, you'll get those statistics because they're in my lecture.
But the point is, if you're going to be in the Google search results, you should really upload to YouTube. But if you want that same content to be visible to your Facebook users that won't ever search for that stuff on Google, you need to upload that video straight to Facebook.
Yeah.
I about to say Google.
Yeah,
no,
straight
it's
to Facebook. So, and we're the pros, and we get confused. I mean, there's just so many platforms out there and so much to choose from. I guess my ending statement, my ending thing that I would want you to take away from this podcast is pick a platform. You don't need to pick, every platform. You don't need to be LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Pick a platform that you can commit to. If that's video, awesome. If that's YouTube, amazing. If it's written blog post and you're going to put it on your website and push it to your Facebook page and LinkedIn, that's awesome. Anything that you can be consistent with.
Yeah, it needs to be something that you can do on a regular basis. If you think that you can have someone that you are already paying money do that job and do it good and do it consistently, do that.
I've got a doctor right now. This will be my last story and we will wrap this podcast up, I promise. I've got a doctor right now. He's got an iPad and he sets it up while his office assistant sets it up, and he steps in front of that iPad with a little microphone and he records a video. He's a bariatric surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
And he records, hey, this is the importance of exercise. And yes, it may be painful to start exercising, but just, 10 minutes a day. And then suddenly you feel better and you want to do more. And then it's 20 minutes a day. But he stands in front of this iPad and he records the video and it looks good.
Yep.
And uploads it to YouTube.
Yeah, I'm wanting to say they edit it on the iPad too. I think they use the built-in video editing software.
iMovie on the iPad's pretty good, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, if you want to produce video content, an iPad
is very little barrier to entry these days.
Oh, no. And a podcast, we'll talk about that. iPad for that.
I don't remember the guy's name, but there is a famous movie director who doesn't record on anything but iPhones now. He has been saying for years that iPhones, cell phones in general, are the wave of the future for recording video. And I'll put it in the description whenever I find it. So look at the description of this podcast and you'll see the director's name. The last movie he shot entirely on iPhone.
Well, I mean, the iPhone will shoot 4K. The iPad will shoot 4K.
The next iPhone that comes out is going to have 3 cameras on the front of it.
Or the back, supposedly.
Whatever.
We'll see in 4 days.
Yeah.
So I said that was going to be my last little bit. Just pick a platform that you can commit to and stick with that platform. No matter, whether it's audio, video. But seriously, the barrier to entry for any of this stuff is super, super low with the technology that we have available to us today.
It's the same barrier that you run into every time. It's time.
Yes. Time is your biggest barrier when it comes to producing content. Speaking of producing content, we appreciate you joining us for this podcast. You can find us everywhere that fine podcasts are sold and distributed. You can find us anywhere online at Purple Tie Guys, purpletieguys.com. And we really appreciate it.